everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Andy, the Painting Fireman. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for subscribing as well. I really appreciate it. Today I just want to firstly just shout out to all the firefighters in Alberta that are working hard to protect this province. It's really nasty out there, so keep up the hard work. Just remember they're working as hard as they can, so make sure you follow those rules. Their resources are becoming pretty limited, so if there's a fire ban in your area, just make sure you follow the rules, because they're getting gassed pretty fast. So yeah, appreciate all the firefighters out there that are doing a good job up in northern Alberta. Anyway, on the canvas today, I just show you what I got. I got a black gesso canvas. It's completely dry. On top of the black gesso, I have liquid clear, and I put some phthalo green. As well, as you can see, I put a piece of tape on there. I live in Canada, so I used a piece of hockey tape. So the reason for the hockey tape, or any kind of tape really, is just to make sure that I got a straight horizon line. Once we paint the sky, we can take that off and we'll have a nice, hopefully a nice straight line. And yeah, I thought today we're going to do a seascape. I haven't done a seascape in a while, so come up on the canvas, see what we got. All right, today we have very limited colors. We're not going to use a ton of colors. I might put some more on here, but we're just going to start out with a little bit of white on our 1-inch brush and just pull it out, tap it in. You can just pull that out, tap it in. And what we're going to do is we're going to try and, big decision right away is kind of figure out where a light, or it's going to be like a moonlit, and there's going to be kind of clouds and maybe a little bit eerie, I guess. So we got to figure out where we're going to put that initial kind of moonlight. So you don't want to go right in the middle. You kind of want to go off to the side there, and I think right here, and just make an X, and you can go around your X, just kind of creating a little glow. And what I'm going to do is, once I've got that little glow happening, I'm going to stir it up, okay, in circles. So I'm just going to make little circles. It'll look like really cool little clouds kind of hanging out there. And be really free with your 1-inch brush. You can do the X's still again. And just keep going around. Don't go back into that middle quite yet. We'll go back there and we'll brighten it up. We'll go back there. But you want your brightest part here, and then you want to fade off kind of into nothing. So don't press too hard. You don't really need to add any paint. That's just kind of going to be background clouds, and you can stir it up as much as you want. We're going to put some big old clouds coming this way, maybe some in front here. Stir it up. Be really free with that brush. Kind of all over the place, but you really want the brightest part right there. Stir it up. My tape didn't stick too good, but hopefully I'm going to come up with a kind of straight line. But even if it's not perfectly straight, we can go back and fix it there. We can go back and fix it, no problem. No problem. There we go. Okay, before we go back into the mill, we're going to clean our brush. I just cleaned my brush in odorless paint thinner. If you're working inside, that's kind of what you want to do is make sure you got that odorless stuff. Okay, let's go back into our white again. We're going to go right back into that middle one more time, where our moon is, and you're just going to start there again and just go around. And we'll fix that up a little bit when we'll put a real moon in. We'll do some finger painting maybe. You could use a brush too, but just brightening up just a few places here and there. Just circles. Sorry if there's some noises. We have a house guest actually that got evacuated from up north. We had to open up our house, so got a visitor here, so there might be some noises, so I apologize already for that, but hopefully it won't be too bad. All right, there we go. I think that's it for that. We'll take our big 2-inch brush. Whoops. Take our big 2-inch brush. Pardon me a minute. And we can go back and we can go right in the middle. And we can just start blending the sky out. Just blend that sky out. And you can make your circles and all that kind of stuff as you're doing it. Doesn't have to be the X stroke, but just make sure that you don't go back into the middle. It's not, you don't want to go back in there. You want it, that's the brightest spot. And if you do go back into the middle, we'll just wipe off your brush. So you don't want it to contaminate that middle part. And we're just blending out the sky. Just blending out that sky. And just by doing some of those circles, you can see on this side, there's some distant clouds and kind of eerie looking sky today. Okay, and you can just wipe off your brush. You don't necessarily have to clean it 100% when you're doing this. You can just kind of tap it onto some paper towel, and then you can go right back in here and blend that out too. And gently go across. And step back, have a look and see if you think you need more light maybe. I think over on that side. And down here it's kind of radiating a little more. Just put some in. Just put some in little lighter parts. Maybe some of that moonlight's catching some of these clouds in the back. So you can go ahead and put some little brighter spots here. Same with over here. Maybe there's a big old cloud kind of hanging over here. The biggest part is doing this is just kind of making sure that your brush is really free, right? Super free. Just kind of spinning it around, maybe some X strokes once in a while, but mostly just spinning it around. All right. And we can just go ahead and blend some of that in. And you can blend it. You can sit here forever and blend it and it'll just be a green sky, but don't over blend because you want those dark spots and you want those bright spots in there. It just adds a little bit of dimension to your painting, that's all. And that's a good thing. You want that depth in that painting. You want these dark spots here. Remember, this is an ocean, so you're gonna have kind of dark and dreary skies. So. All right, let's put our moon in. Just a little bit of white paint right on my finger. We're gonna go in, and we're gonna go right here. Just make a circle. Just make a circle. And what you can do is you can take your knife and peel off a little bit if you don't like it. Go back. And let's try that again. So we got our bright spot there. Let's go back. There we go. Perfect. That's what I was looking for. Try to make it as round as you can. I mean, it's not going to be perfect. We'll put some clouds in there or something. You can lightly go over top of that. Go close to it if you want. And just go over it very gently. I'm barely even holding on, like I'm just, the brush is virtually loose in my hands. Okay? And just ever so gently go across that moon that you made, and that'll just push that moon right back into the sky there, so it's not overpowering. All right, let's have some fun with our clouds today. All right, fan brush. I just bought a new fan brush, so we're gonna give her a try out here. Lots of white paint just on the fan brush. We'll come in here and we can start making some big old clouds here. Just circular, just using the kind of the corner of that brush, just at a little bit of an angle. Spinning it around, spin it around. We're gonna blend out a bunch of that. Add some more paint. Maybe up here there's one. Maybe it comes really close. The closer you get to that moon, the more the light's going to bounce off the tops of those clouds. I think we'll put one over here maybe. Bouncing around up there. Sorry about the noise. The little guy, I think, is kind of bouncing his way around there. All right, before we go any further, so I want to put clouds on top of clouds. So just do a few at a time. Take the corner of your big brush, and you can just blend the bottoms. Try your best to leave the top. Try your best to leave the top, and you can fluff it up. Just ever so gently going upwards. I don't know what the heck was on there. Just upwards, fluff those up. And you can go across with them. Just the bottoms, all I'm doing. Just circular, very gentle with your brush again. Fluff them up. You'll create fantastic looking clouds. Really deep into the painting. Try and leave those tops. That's kind of, sometimes they get too bright. Like this one here I think is a little too bright. I don't want it that bright. So you can just go in there and just soften it up a little bit. All right. Go back to our fan brush. I want to put another cloud kind of in front of this one. That's why we blend it out. As soon as we put this one, automatically that one will look like it's in front here. I want a really kind of scary, ominous looking sky today. So we're gonna have some big old clouds everywhere. All right, let's take our brush again. And just our circular pattern, just around. I don't want these ones too bright on the top, so you can go ahead and kind of buff those out and blend those out a little bit. But closer, like I said, closer to this, to the moonlight, that's where you want those little kind of shots of white on top of those clouds. That's just reflecting, and you can even go in, add a little bit here and there, just to give it that indication that moonlight is bouncing off the top of those clouds, just in places. Maybe just right up here. And you could go ahead and pick them out. It's all up to you. Let's go over here. Let's put a big old, maybe he goes right under there. And all I'm doing circular strokes, that's it. Nothing too fancy about this. Nothing too big and fancy about it. Kind of just have to have an idea, right? Once you have an idea, watch some videos. You know, if somebody takes one of my videos and makes a painting out of it, that's awesome. I encourage that. I watched several videos, and sometimes I get my ideas from them, and sometimes, you know, I'll make my own paintings just out of my mind. I really don't take from a how you say, like a reference photo. I might try a reference photo once in a while, but I really don't paint from a reference photo. I kind of just have an idea, kind of idea, and then I just kind of make my own adjustments going forward with it. So there we go, looking like a pretty nice gloomy looking sky. I think maybe on top there, just right up here, think could fill that space up a little bit. And you could put as many clouds as you want. You could put least amount of clouds as you want. Really doesn't matter. It's up to you. You're painting. Bob Ross used to always say, you know, as soon as you got that first paintbrush and first tube of paint, you got your artist license. So you do you, right? You do you. And then you could go gently across. Gently across. And once in a while, just step back, see what kind of sky you have, see what works, what needs a little highlight. So that's what I'm going to do, and we're going to work on the ocean. All right, I just stepped back, had a look. I think it was pretty good. I just kind of made some minor adjustments, nothing too major. Just kind of softened up some places in the sky. All right, moment of truth. Let's take this piece of tape off here, and we'll see what we got. Pretty straight. It didn't stick 100%, but that'll work. There we go. So when you put your piece of tape on, you'll notice you can't do it with oil or with your liquid clear on the bottom. So you're going to have a dry spot right in here. So this is dry, wet, wet. So what we have to do is we have to take some of our paint, and you just want to, actually I'll clean that off. You don't want it all white. Pardon me a minute. All right, let's start that again. All right, so take some of your blue or your green, and you just want to rub that green up as close as you can. And you can take from the bottom here and move that up. So you want to fill that space up that the tape was covering, because you want it nice and slick and wet just like the rest of them. And it'll, because we have green on the bottom too, it won't match the color too great. So you want to take some of that paint. You can just go in the bottom, scoop some up, and slowly and carefully go up to that horizon line. And you can even take some of your phthalo green that you have on your palette that's left over or whatever. Go right up as close as you can. Doesn't have to be 100% exact, but it's better if it is. Well, not exact, but you know what I mean. As straight as possible, I guess, right? And that piece of tape just helps you out with that. Just helps you out a lot, making that line nice and straight. Take some of that. And a little bit of paint goes a long way. In this style of oil painting, a little tiny bit of paint goes a long ways. So it's pretty economical. All right, filled in that. And we're gonna do our sea, like our water part, but we're gonna do it a little different. We're gonna use our knife this time. So what you wanna do is you wanna pull that out, cut off a piece of paint, and you'll have a nice, I don't know if you can see that, nice little roll of paint. And all I did was cut across. Let's start where our moon is. The moon's gonna be shining off the waves in the background, and as we go farther, just like we did with our sky, it's gonna go darker and darker to each side. So you want to start right where the moonlight is, and all we're gonna do is tap. And all I'm doing is tapping some paint. It's gonna mix, some of that's gonna mix in with the green, and all I'm doing, taking our paint, going across, and just tapping. And that'll make it look like there's really cool waves in there. Really choppy. And just pressing down. I'm not going crossways like this. I'm not smearing it. All I'm doing is taking the paint that I got on my knife and just kind of tapping it in. And concentrate right now on that center part. where the moonlight's kind of shining, glistening off those waves. But the biggest part about this is you want those, you don't want to go sideways. You want to go, so sorry, my hand was in the way. You want to go straight. You want to keep your knife as straight as you can. Straight across. Maybe there's some bigger parts here. I don't know. And as we go across, we can add some phthalo green in there. Just put a bit of phthalo green. And that will soften that color up. It won't be so bright because we want it dark as we can get it. Not too dark, but dark enough so that it's not shining too much. Not shining too much on there. Just tapping. That's all I'm doing. Sometimes your arm gets tired by all this, but we're gonna put a big wave in front, maybe a rock, so we won't have to do this whole works down here. And we can go back and we can just add some indications of white. So I'm just kind of putting the phthalo green color down now. Make sure you don't go up above the horizon line. You had a nice straight line to begin with anyway, so you want to keep it that way. Just tapping here. Sometimes you can press harder, maybe there's a bigger wave, right? A little more indication that there's a bigger wave there. And then we can go back into our white. Maybe certain spots. Maybe that moonlight's kind of hitting a few of these waves here. Not too much. Not too much. And we can go back in here. Pull out paint as you need it. And just tapping. Just tapping. Maybe certain spots you can press harder. It'll give texture to your painting too. And that's kind of neat. Like people will come up to your painting and they can actually feel the water. It's a really neat thing that you can do with this kind of oil painting is you almost feel the water, right? So you can come up and touch these paintings once it's dry, obviously. But just dab that paint on there and it'll work, you know, it'll be free with it. All right, I think we're gonna put our big wave coming in here. I haven't figured that out yet, but hopefully something comes to me and we'll figure it out. And with waves, I kind of like making a little drawing of it first, or a little sketch just on the canvas. Waves you kind of need to make a little sketch. It'll help you out. So just gonna step back, have a look, and then we're gonna throw our wave in. We're just gonna sketch our wave in. So we're just gonna take a fan brush and grab some of that white paint. Pretty limited palette. I'm only using about 2 colors here. And that's kind of fun too. It gives you a little bit of a challenge. You got to use different tones and hues and all that kind of fancy jargon, but it does give you a little bit of a challenge. But anyway, so let's just sketch our wave in. We're gonna maybe start over here, and this is just kind of the outline of the wave right now. that big one that's going to come up. And he's going to come over here. Comes around. And then maybe off into nothing over here. He's going to crash this way. Come up this way maybe, I guess. And we'll put a big old rock here that they can crash into. All right. So the eye of the wave is going to be here. This is kind of going to be the, I guess, the top where it kind of fans out, I guess. So we can go ahead, add a little bit of paint in here, a little bit of white. Scrub that white in. This could be our big eye there, I guess. Just scrub that all into there. And then you can take your 1-inch brush. And just scrub that in. I know it doesn't look like much right now, but that's okay. Sometimes some paintings just kind of turn out that way and you just never know what's going on. But you want that really white, so we're going to go back in there. Yeah, smush that paint in there. Just press really hard. Press really hard. And then fade it off. So just take your brush, blend it in there. And what you could do, you could even add a little bit of yellow. Just a little bit. You don't want too much yellow. Take a little bit of yellow. Take it on your fan brush. Just a little bit of yellow right in here. Just changes the flavor up just a little bit. It's kind of like that moon is kind of going through there. Let's take some white just on our fan brush and let's start figuring out where this wave comes over. Right around there. And all you're going to do is take and drop it over. Big old wave coming over, I think. You can make this a little round if you want. And it's just white paint. Just on the top. Big old wave. And then you can come back on the top of this wave. Because maybe it starts coming over this way just with your white paint. We're going to blend all that out. We'll put some shadows in there, things like that. You can go in, just add a little bit. How it's churning and bubbling over. We're going to make it splash up that way, I think. All it is the fan brush. That's all we're doing. Maybe some come crashing a little more than others, I don't know. And you can take your fan brush, turn it sideways, and just kind of dump it in there a little bit. Because this part's kind of curling over too, right? There we go. And you can take your fan brush, blend a little bit out. Very gently, very lightly. Not pressing too hard right now. here. Goes into our little, you want to leave this spot pretty bright. I might actually brighten that up a little bit. Just take some of that white paint. And let's blend that out as well. More. All right, let's add some shadows in there. All I got is, it's kind of a bluey purple color. Just want a dark shadow. Just mix that purple color with white. And I'm using kind of a filbert brush, just a small brush. We're gonna go right in here. Maybe a little darker. Right in here. We're gonna make our little shadow. That's where our big, and if you've gone too far that way, don't worry about it. Don't you worry about it. Because we can cut her off here. Let's splash this one way up in the sky. Now this is just our shadow color right now. We're going to highlight the bottom and the top of it, or the bottom. Just make it darker, just a little bit darker. So there we go. Sometimes you don't know what you're looking for until you finally put it on. You get that kind of eureka moment, I guess. And that's going to go right across the top of this wave here. Just shadows underneath, you know, because it's darker really. Go all the way across. We'll blend that out too. That's the wonderful thing about oil paints. You can blend stuff out and change your mind, whatever you want to do. All right. Just make these completely random. Don't go straight across in a big circle all the way across evenly. You want to make it. Really random all over the place. So, all right, let's take our fan brush again. Give her a little bit of a clean. Add some more white. Actually, before we do that, let's blend out that shadow color. Just blend it out a little bit. Just take the 2-inch brush on the bottom here and just making circular patterns. And we're going to put a big old rock there, so that's kind of why I ended where I ended. And just blend that shadow color in there. You can go back and you can take your white. Go back and take your white and fix this up if you need to. That big old waves crash right there. Crashing and thrashing. Just circular patterns, really. Nothing too fancy. All right, let's put our highlights in on our wave. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna take our fan brush, lots of our white paint, and we're gonna kind of make white splashing kind of motions, I guess you would say. And you can press that in there. And all I'm doing is kind of pressing the corner of that fan brush while I'm kind of making circular motions at the same time. And that'll give us really awesome indications of that splash of that wave crashing against the big rock that's going to go there. You can go all the way to the top here, and you know it's kind of crashing in here. We're going to kind of move some of this stuff down. And you know, it kind of splashes up this way too, right? It's not completely flat all the way across, you know, that water kind of spritzes up. There we go. And you can take your 1-inch brush and give it a little clean. Make sure you got a clean brush to start with it. And we can take some of that. You can even use your fan brush if you want. That might be better. Just to indicate that it's really curling over there. Just in certain spots you want to bring some of that down. Big old crasher here. Maybe there's just hitting land ever slow. You know, you can make really big beaches if you want. I decided not to this time, but maybe right in this section right here, that's where it kind of hits the land. So you want to scoop it up the way the wave's coming in. We're going to add some more highlights in there anyways. Some shadows and all that kind of stuff. Just scoop it up. I bought a new liner brush that I kind of want to try out, so this will be a perfect perfect way to try it. So we're going to try that liner brush right away. Just at the very end we'll put some highlights and all that kind of stuff everywhere. Alright, let's put in our land. We're going to use that mountain mix color, or black, whichever. We'll try mountain mix. Excuse me, a little bit of mountain mix and some black. I'm going to put a big old rock there that wave's hitting. Alright, just on your palette knife again. Mix that color in there. It's going to be like a purpley color, I guess. Alright. So, let's put in kind of like I guess it'd be a big old mountain almost. Big old sharp, jagged rocks that are see in the ocean all the time, right? That wave just hits that sucker right there. And you can just fill in the rest there. Big old jaggedy. There's maybe a rock right here too you can put crashing against here. Just adds a little bit of something to your painting when you add these little kind of things, and we'll put some highlights on there so that we know that rock's there. All right, and you can make it so that it's rough. So like I was saying before, people can kind of touch your paintings, and it'd be really neat to feel how rugged that rock is. Another bonus about oil painting is that the textures that you can create, right? There's tons of texture that you can have. It just adds to your painting. All right, let's take some white, some green, whatever kind of we got left on our palette here. Just mix all that up. We're just going to put some highlights. I'm going to try green first, maybe. Put a little bit of that mountain color in there. I want that green tinge All right, and we're just gonna put some indications that some of that moonlight is kind of hitting our rocks here. Big old rock cliff here. Here. And barely just kind of tapping with my my knife. Kind of making little ledges, I guess you would say. That rock is jaggedy and maybe there's some water splashing up against it, I don't know. Alright, let's add some little darker color to that. And we're just putting it kind of maybe a little darker than that. I just want to make it look like there's cliffs and stuff hitting this big old rock, right? Maybe even a splash of phthalo green in there. Right. Let's give this guy a little highlight so we know he's there. This little guy. Grab your 2-inch or 1-inch brush. Just grab a little liquid white. Not too much, you don't need a lot. We're gonna put some and tap it in to our brush. We're just gonna go up here and just tap. So just some indications that there is water splashing everywhere. And you just take a little bit that splashes up here maybe. And you're just looking for little bits of really bright white, kind of like a mist. So when those, and it's just really random. No real indication of where it's hitting. So you know how we put that rock right there. We'll just put a little bit of splash there. Here we go. Just adds a little bit to your painting. Just that little touch. I mean, it's not very much, but you know that water is just kind of hitting all those hidden rocks and hidden things, and you never know what's going on under the water. Now, I kind of want to soften a little bit of these parts out. I found that there's a little bit too much, too bright in there. So you can just take your fan brush, go back, kind of clean up those rougher edges here. Step back, have a look. All right. That's about it, I think. Last thing we need to do is sign our painting. I'm just going to go into some of that purple and white. Roll that paint in there. Roll that paint across. And find a good spot to put your name. We're going to go right here. Here we go. that looks like a finished painting. So thank you very much for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed this seascape. My name's Andy, the painting fireman. Keep your shining side up, everyone. Stay safe, friends.